Hello, welcome back to automation. So, I've got some good news. The devs recently have put out an update that fixes some of the problems we've been having with this game, which is great. And that means that it's a good time to try to extract the maximum fuel economy that I can out of the biggest engine that is currently possible in the game, that being 75 liters of V16 quad turbo and supercharged power. Although some of that stuff might be gone, this is all that matters here. 75 liters of displacement. What is the best economy we can get out of this thing? Screw power, screw torque, screw turbos, boost, whatever. Everything is on the table here to get rid of, except for displacement. How good can I do? Now, the reason I thought of this is because originally this game, there was a bit of a problem when this beta dropped where the big engines, especially this one, will run out of fuel in like 3 seconds in BeamNG, and I want to see if we can make it actually last. Like, how good can we do? So if you want to see where your fuel economy is at, an easy way to get a full range of data that you don't necessarily need is to go to detailed statistics, fuel economy over here on the left, and boom, 438.11 liters per 100 Ks, and that is in an engine that is very, very similar to the one I just showed you, except it's in a yellow bus, and it makes a bit more power. So can we do better than that? That is really, really bad. That is horrible. For context, my wife's REV4 hybrid all-wheel drive, in the summer I can get 5-6 liters per 100 Ks. Winter is like 7-8. So yeah, 438 to put that in perspective. Admittedly, one of the things that is bringing me down here is the fact that this engine is in a bus, and the bus is really only as efficient as it can be. It's a flat wall running through the wind. There isn't much you can do with a face like that, but I'm hopeful that we can find something else for this engine to go into. I am going to try that. Just quickly, I'm going to run through pretty much every body in the game and see if I can find something that'll fit this in there, because this is just not going to fly. Oh my goodness. Okay, I found what we're going to use. It is an actual train. I think this might have the smallest frontal area, and then also, obviously, wheel sizes and stuff are in our favor here. I hopefully can do better with this than anything else. A train it is. So as I said before, the road to fuel economy is a long one, and before we get into it, it's time for a word from myself, because there are no sponsors for this video. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been watching my content recently. Things have been going really good. I'm taking YouTube very seriously this year, trying to do the best that I can do, and I've set a goal for myself, and I need your help with that. 100,000 subscribers is the goal. Currently, it's like 62,500, I think, is where I'm at. Gotta get there this year. I have been saying that for years, but this is the year 100K. So please subscribe if you're enjoying this content and you want to see more stuff like this. I need all the help I can get. Thank you. Okay, let's get on to the actual building of this part, because there's a lot we can do with this train to make it more efficient. Naturally, having front tires that work and an engine that works is pretty darn high on my priority list, but let's see where we're at in terms of the actual stats here. Just to get a prediction, we got nothing because the tires are terrible. There are absolutely no body morphs on this, which is a problem because all of the weight on this thing is right in the front and the tires are blowing out. Okay, I have made it so that it has massive chunky tires. We will fix this because this is extremely inefficient, but at least at this point they're not blowing out, which means hopefully we can get some stats. No? Surprisingly, all things considered, this train doesn't actually weigh that much. It's only 2,876 kilos, which is surprisingly little for a train. The reason that it's not working is unknown to me at this point. We will have to figure that one out. But I think I'm just going to have to send it from here and hope that it works. At this point, maybe a comfort preset. The reality is that cutting power is also going to give us a big boost in economy, generally speaking. But this rolling during testing, I cannot seem to fix, so we'll just have to assume that the answer to this question is it's bad. Okay, on to the good stuff. Let's do a full monocoque frame, which means we can also do carbon fiber, which means that we're going to be cutting a significant amount of weight out of this. That is 100 kilos gone. Okay, all this stuff I don't really care about right now. We can come back to this later. but I definitely want to move these exhaust pipes into the actual train area. It should probably have smokestacks, so we'll get rid of those for now and come back to that. Maybe we can make the exhaust come out of here. Now, the big important thing is the engine actually decent? Engine efficiency is currently 10%. I think we can do a lot better than that. A lot better than that. First thing I'm going to do just to test it is go straight to naturally aspirated. This has made the engine efficiency very slightly better. I mean, higher is better in terms of the percentage, but only by 0.2. And we only lost 2,000 horsepower. The turbos were not doing much for this thing. It's crazy when an engine can make 8,000 horsepower naturally aspirated. Just crazy stuff. Well, we can actually make 10,000 horsepower with just tubular headers and a better intake, and you don't even need supercharging, turbocharging. 10,600 horsepower is possible without. I honestly had no idea that was a thing, but here we are. So I had the game tune the engine for fuel economy, and just to give us an idea of what that looks like, percentage-wise, it's only 13%, which is poor to say the least. I really want to figure out how to get this number back, so I'm going to work on that for a bit, but we're down to 7,000 horsepower, and we're still rolling over. Got to do better. There we go. We finally got fuel economy numbers, 346.2 liters per 100K. How can we improve that? So at this point, I pretty much don't care about anything other than trying to get it to run as efficiently as possible. That means I'm willing to sacrifice a lot of things to get there. Aluminum parts, anything to get the efficiency up. Just gonna try it again to go for fuel economy here on the tune, and it popped out this, which gives us 347 again. So awkwardly, it seems like the game does not think we can do better than 347 with an only 13.4% efficiency on the engine. That is really, really low. Oh, I realized why this thing is running the way it is. It's running nitromethane, and it's running NM50. Interestingly, I am concerned that by changing this, for one, we're going to lose a ton of power, which is probably for the better, but is this just going to destroy everything I've been working on so far? Down to unleaded. Oh no, that's way better. 38% engine efficiency, 94 instead of 3, whatever that was. That is way, way better. Wow, that is significantly better. Admittedly, things are a little bit more down to earth here, so this is a good thing. So awkwardly, I think this, the way that it's set up seems to be for MPG, because when I get a better rating here, it goes red. Like you want your liters per 100K to be lower, not higher like MPG. So we gotta watch this number carefully. This one is looking good though, 41%. Still making 5,500 horsepower, by the way, just as an FYI. I think we can still make decent power and have good economy at the same time. 94.3. Okay, there's still more left in the tank. Having a super high compression ratio apparently improves it as well. I'm wondering if lowering the cam profile helps. Oh yeah, it does. It's still 89.2 liters per 100K. That is not good, but it's better than it was. And consider again, this engine is 75 liters. 75. See, now that we have that, we don't have any reliability issues at all, which means potentially I can switch to lighter components and that will help things out. Forged heavy is heavy, so down to titanium perhaps? It's still high quality stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a very mild improvement as this has gone red, which seems to indicate good in our case. Definitely having some torque reliability issues I can't get down from billet steel heavy, even though it's such a high reliability threshold. Just anything normal is not good enough. Like, it just makes so much torque off the line. It's insane. As you can see by these dotted lines, that's where it was before. It immediately broke when I switched it. So let's try just like low friction. That's gonna break it. Maybe just forge light. Is this gonna grenade the engine? Yes. There we go. 87.1. No balancing mass. Again, trying to lighten the internals of the engine. The engine by itself weighs 600 kilos, just as a just so you know. Okay, I'm going to leave the engine for now at 80 liters per 100 Ks. We did get up to 40% efficiency, and then I've dropped it down to 37, mostly because I'm cutting weight out of things. Like if you put on tubular race headers, it's technically more efficient. I mean, that's just better, so I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but I've shrunk things down, cut the exhaust. Everything has been changed. The engine is not looking the same as it was. Still rocking ITBs, that might be too much. Yeah, running singles is actually more efficient. We're only making 1700 horsepower right now. There is definitely a way to get this thing to be even more efficient than it is and still make big power, but that's not really what I'm going for. We just want to see this number as low as it'll possibly go. Okay, big factor in whether or not this thing is actually going to work is the gearing. Gearing makes such a huge difference. 78.9 liters per 100K, and that is running this setup here, whatever is going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm also running downforce and stuff. We're going to go flow optimized and just immediately cut a little bit down, so that's a positive, which is good. Maybe the thing is broken only in that one area, because this is showing correctly here. This does have a ridiculous amount of quality pumped into it, by the way. It's all 15 plus. This is not possible any other way. In my pursuit of trying to get this to be as light as possible and therefore have better economy, I'm cutting literally everything out of it. There we go, 1,281 kilos. Total weight, 1,281. Most of it being in the front. We're gonna have to change that too, because that is just nuts. It is supposed to be a rear-wheel drive. A lot of modern cars use as many speeds as they can possibly get. The reason for that is so that they can be in the optimal ratio at any given time. I don't necessarily have that option. I just want to get it to be decent. I'm going to cut the differential out of it. Automatics in this game do go up to 10 speeds, which would be nice, but that is making things worse. First gear is insane. Let's turn that down. Yeah, that improves it quite a bit. Turn down first gear even further. I think I'm going to try to speed limit the car to like 200, assuming it even gets that high. 81.2 liters per 100K is way worse than I thought this was going to be. This is with an advanced auto 10 speed. Trying to get the best I can get out of this thing. I did try CVT and it was like 100 something, so that's worse. I tried a regular automatic and then it's basically the same. There's not really much else to this that I can do here other than go manual. I guess 7 speed. Well, that's better. Okay, manual is gonna be the way to go. Although it does cut our utility, but whatever. We lost like almost 100 kilos there. 75 kilos down is big, especially when you're getting down here. I would love to get this down to like 1,000, but I don't think that's possible with something like this. Almost 2,000 horsepower makes a big difference. 40% efficiency, 76.1 liters per 100K. That's a little bit better. Still insane torque, and I think that's probably part of the issue here is that it makes so much torque down low that it's just grenading tires instantly, which is not helpful. So it's rolling over during testing, which is not good. I don't really know what to do about that. I'm going to try to shrink the rims down and just generally try to get this efficiency to be better. There's a lot of tire on the rear, and the reason for that is because I had to put it there. I couldn't do anything else to get this thing to work. Running medium compound, I believe, is the best I can get in terms of efficiency. Oh, Hard Long Life wins the day here, just a little bit better. But these ones are very close. It looks pretty rough though. I am going to fix this a little bit in post, and that means with the advanced stuff because this is just weird looking. Also, this entire train is just like offset slightly. Is that how it's supposed to be? The thing is not centered. Okay, so I've been tweaking this for a while, and the changes I'm making are not really doing anything, so I'm kind of stuck here at 75.8 liters per 100 Ks, which is, to be clear, significantly better than it was. However, the cost is significant. We're down to 2,000 horsepower. I'm running a very light train with a 7-speed manual. I guess at the end of the day, it is a train. There's only so much you can do. Like, the frontal area of this thing is ridiculous. If you go to aerodynamics and look over here, you can see the body effective area. Drag coefficient of this sucker is 0.22. That's actually really, really good because the drag coefficient for an EV1 is 0.19. What the heck? How is this thing so efficient for some reason? Well, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I got things to be better mostly because of this flow optimized tray here, which is just making things a little bit better than they should be. Although, I mean, it is very thin. It's just flat. This part is fine. This part is not. Something I've never really messed with before is changing the cooling airflow, but it does so little, like, to turn it all the way down that there's no real point. The biggest changes are in wheels and everything else. Like, when I cut the weight out of the wheels, it improves it. I mean, it's making everything else worse, but it's improving the economy. I can't get the front wheels to be thinner. The back wheels, I'm trying to get them as thin as I can, but it's not necessarily more efficient. It's basically got golf cart wheels. This thing is essentially an engine with a body very crudely mounted on top. But I believe that's all I can do. I think that's it. At least within my hour and a bit of tuning, that's all that I can muster. But now, does it actually work in BeamNG? And what does a 75-liter naturally aspirated V16 sound like? You're just going to have to stay tuned to find out. BRB, I'm going to make a couple changes. Maybe make this so it's not scraping into the ground. And I'll get back to you. Okay, so I went ahead and did the bare minimum. It has a BMW badge on the front of it. It has no texture on the side, although it wasn't that when I put it there. Yeah, I also made the wheels stick out a little bit further because it was just bad to look at. Now it actually looks like a car, and the offset is absolutely insane. Don't worry about that. Brakes are tiny, engine is more forwards. It's just cool. Also, the engine revving kicks the suspension over, and this is with a race preset firm suspension setup, so not amazing. Now, we do have some cool stuff on the side to look at, including a fuel consumption gauge and also liters used per distance traveled. It says I've gone a pretty fair distance. I have not gone anywhere, so I don't know how accurate this is actually going to be. Torque is going to be absolutely insane in this. Again, it has like 7,000 Newton meters of torque and only 200 horsepower. It's essentially a diesel type engine, which I guess makes sense for the train factor, the form factor that it's in. Now what I want to do, oh man, it squeaks so bad, is turn off the ESC. I don't know why it even has ESC, to be honest. I should have taken that off. Get up into 7th. Oh, it's squirrely. I mean, I'm doing like 100 and something kilometers an hour with ease in this train. I actually might at some point take this train seriously and try to make it ridiculously quick just because it looks cool as it runs, but can we do better than 150 liters per 100 kilometers? I want to see that 75 or whatever it was that I managed to get there. Just even lightly on the throttle, it is squealing tires. This will lay the longest set of 11s you've ever seen. This is also in 7th gear, might I add. Okay, keeping the RPMs low. Hold on, I'm gonna add some stuff. There's a real train in the background too, perfect timing. One of my favorite widgets is cruise control. I'm gonna set cruise to 100. Just leave it in 7th. And with a reset on this, we're doing, 70-ish liters per 100k. It's like 70, 80. If I go into 6th, yeah, just a little bit higher, 80s. So it is totally possible to get the fuel economy it says it will. At least if you really try. It's not necessarily the best way to do things, but being in the top gear, being under 1,000 RPM, we can get 100 kilometers an hour and decent economy out of it. Now, I do wonder if I just lower this down to like, say 90, is that going to improve it or make it worse? It's basically idling along at this point. What about 80? It is actually idling at this point. 80 liters per 100k, that's arguably worse than it was at 100, so not bad overall, honestly. This train is fairly efficient. And I say that with the context of you saw what it could have been. You saw what it could have been. Realistically, is that efficient? No, that is horrendous. That is like there's fuel leaking out of your tank. That's the only way that it gets that inefficient. Apparently we have 115 kilometers of range, which is surprising. But I guess it makes sense considering we got 100 liters in here. So what if we take off the cruise and do a little bit of spirited driving? How is that gonna go? Oh, poorly. Suzuki Samurai poorly. Okay, I'm in first gear. I'm absolutely revving the heck out of it. I'm doing 400 liters per 100 Ks. At this point, I'm basically just grinding wheels into dust here. Going through gears really means nothing when you have a full wheel spin. This engine sounds great, by the way. Here's a listen. Well, when it's upright, at least. In order to cut down on the amount of 11s that are being given out here, I'm going to put it in ESC Sport mode. This is going to cut power a little bit, but it might actually increase the fuel economy. And once you look at that, it actually is increasing fuel economy significantly. If we set this to, let's say, 100, so we've been wasting a lot of economy on just burning tires, it seems. Because in fourth gear, low RPM, I mean, at this rate, it doesn't even matter. It seems like it's actually more efficient. Higher. Yeah, it is bouncing all over the place to a point where I can't make any sense of these numbers. 90 something liters per 100K in fifth. It's definitely not as efficient at low RPMs as you might anticipate. And when I give it the beans, that's pretty much it. Oh, it's struggling. It's struggling. Pull it together, buddy. Sixth gear. No, we don't need sixth. 200 something kilometers an hour, but probably not because of wheel spin. Have you ever seen a train lay its own tracks? That's what we're doing today. See, with this much torque, even with super tall gearing, it doesn't really matter. I mean, at this point, I'm just getting the same economy in all aspects, so it is what it is. This is what we got. Let's go off the pyramid in celebration of my failure. I really thought this was going to be a lot better. I thought that this thing was going to be able to do like 5 or 6 liters per 100 Ks, because sometimes these games that's just what they do, but apparently not. This engine, upside down as it is not capable of doing that unless, you can manage it. See, the thing with these challenges is I only have so much time, and I'm very curious as to how everybody else can do with something similar. So make yourself a max size engine, do not change the size, find a body that it fits in, hopefully it's not a train, and yeah, what's the best you can do? Let me know, I'm very curious. Don't worry, we will be getting away from this massive engine next week. I will try something different. I really enjoy messing with it. It is a lot of fun, but yeah, it's been a few weeks in a row, so let's try something else. You know, the Magnum Opus is due for a supercharged variant. And the Bugo as well. Desperately needs compound turbos. Just putting that out there. Guys, as I said before, I really appreciate your support on this video and this channel. If you're willing to subscribe, that would be great. Like this video if you liked it, and check out some of my other ones if you enjoyed this one. I've got a ton of videos, like there's 500 videos on my channel, which is overwhelming. But generally speaking, the newer the better. So check it out. Lots of videos on this recent automation update, and more to come. It's been good. I'm super pleased with the way things are going, and I'm excited to continue with it. So thank you everybody for being here. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching. See you again soon.